The first sign something was wrong hit me before I even opened the front door. My house smelled different. Not the usual mix of Sarah's vanilla candles and Lily's strawberry shampoo. This was something else. Expensive cologne. Coffee that cost more than my work boots. I'd been gone 14 months. Overseas aircraft maintenance contract in Qatar. Long enough to miss Lily's 6th birthday, her first day of kindergarten, and apparently long enough for my wife to redecorate our entire life. I dropped my duffel bag on the porch. My key still worked. That was something. "Daddy?" Lily's voice echoed from the kitchen, but she didn't come running like she used to. I heard her footsteps stop halfway down the hall. "It's okay, princess," a man's voice said, deep, confident. "Go say hi to your dad." Princess, that was my word for her. Had been since she was born. I walked into my living room. New couch, 60-inch flat screen where my old TV used to be. And sitting in my leather recliner, the one chair I'd specifically asked Sarah not to touch, was a stranger. Tall guy, early 40s, designer jeans and a polo shirt that probably cost more than I made in a week. He didn't stand up when I entered. Didn't even look away from the football game. "You must be Jason," he said, finally glancing over. "Blake Maddox. Sarah's told me all about you." I stared at him. Sarah appeared from the kitchen, wiping her hands on a dish towel. She looked nervous, guilty. "Jason, you're early," she said, forcing a smile. "Blake's been helping us out while you were gone. You know, around the house." "Helping," I repeated. Blake finally stood. He was taller than me by a few inches, broader too. His handshake was firm. Too firm. "Your wife's been through a lot," he said. "Raising a kid alone, working full-time. Good thing she had someone to lean on." Lily peeked around the corner. My heart clenched. She looked smaller than I remembered. Thinner, dark circles under her eyes like she wasn't sleeping. "Hey, sweetheart," I said, kneeling down. "Come give Daddy a hug." She hesitated, glanced at Blake. He nodded, and only then did she run to me. Her hug felt different, desperate, like she was scared I might disappear again. "I missed you so much," she whispered against my neck. "I missed you too, baby." When I looked up, Blake was watching us. His expression was unreadable, but something cold flickered in his eyes. "Well," Sarah said, clapping her hands together. "Who's hungry? I made your favorite, Jason. Meatloaf." Dinner was a nightmare. Blake dominated the conversation, talking about his business ventures and how he'd been taking care of the girls. He cut Lily's meat for her, corrected her table manners, and called her princess every few minutes. Each time he said it, my jaw tightened a little more. "So what do you do, Blake?" I asked. "Consulting," he said vaguely. "Financial planning. Help people make smart investments." "What company?" "Freelance, mostly. I work with several firms." That wasn't an answer. I filed it away. After dinner, I offered to give Lily her bath. It was our old routine. She used to love it. Rubber ducks, bubble beard, the works. But when I started filling the tub, she flinched at the sound of running water. "It's okay, princess," I said gently. "Just Daddy." She let me help her out of her clothes, but when I saw her shoulders, I froze. Yellow-green bruises, finger-shaped, recent. "Lily," I said, keeping my voice calm. "What happened to your shoulders?" She looked down. "I was bad." "Bad how?" "I spilled juice on Uncle Blake's papers. He said I need to be more careful." "Uncle Blake did this?" Her eyes went wide, scared. "Don't tell him I said anything. Please, Daddy. He gets mad when I tattle." I finished her bath in silence, tucked her into bed, read her 3 stories instead of 1. When she finally fell asleep, I sat in the dark for a long time, staring at her peaceful face. Downstairs, I found Sarah and Blake on the couch. His arm was around her shoulders. Her head was on his chest. They pulled apart when they saw me. "We need to talk," I said to Sarah. "Jason, I know how this looks." "Just us," I said, looking at Blake. "Private conversation." Blake stood up slowly. "Actually, I think I should stay. Sarah and I don't have secrets." "This is my house," I said quietly. "My wife, my conversation." For a moment, we stared at each other, then Blake smiled. It didn't reach his eyes. "Sure thing, buddy. I'll grab a beer from the kitchen." He squeezed Sarah's hand. "Holler if you need me, babe." Babe. He called my wife Babe. When we were alone, Sarah immediately went on the offensive. "Before you say anything, it's not what you think." "What do I think?" That Blake and I are... that we're having an affair." We're not. He's just a friend who helped when things got tough. What kind of help involves him calling you babe? She flushed. He's affectionate. That's just his personality. And the bruises on Lily's shoulders? Her face went pale. What bruises? Don't. I held up a hand. Don't lie to me, Sarah. I saw them. Finger marks. She said Blake did it because she spilled juice. Kids bruise easily. She's clumsy. Blake would never hurt her. Where does he sleep? Silence. Sarah, where does Blake sleep? The guest room, she said finally. But her voice wavered. I walked to the guest room. The bed was made. Dust on the nightstand. I opened the closet. Empty except for old Christmas decorations. I climbed the stairs to our bedroom. Sarah followed, protesting. Jason, please, you're being paranoid. In our dresser, I found men's clothes that weren't mine. Expensive shirts, designer boxer briefs. In the bathroom, a second toothbrush. Cologne I didn't recognize. But what made my hands shake was the photo on Sarah's nightstand. The one that used to be me, her, and Lily at the beach last summer. Now it was just her and Lily. My face had been carefully cut out. 14 months, I said. I was gone 14 months and you replaced me. It's not like that. How long has he been living here? Jason, how long, Sarah? 6 months, she whispered. 6 months, half my deployment. While I was sending money home, video calling Lily every week, counting days until I could hold my family again, this stranger was sleeping in my bed and putting his hands on my daughter. I want him gone, I said. You can't just... By tomorrow night, gone. Sarah's eyes filled with tears. You don't understand. Blake takes care of us. He pays for things. Lily's dance classes, the new furniture, my car payment. Without him what? You'd have to actually be a mother to your daughter instead of letting some creep discipline her? She slapped me. Hard. The sound echoed in the bedroom. Don't you dare judge me, she hissed. You left us. You chose money over family. Blake was here. Blake cared. Blake's a predator. Blake's a good man who stepped up when her father wouldn't. I stared at my wife. This woman I'd loved since college. The mother of my child. I didn't recognize her anymore. Fine, I said. Then you both can leave. This house is in my name. The mortgage is in my name. You want Blake? Take him and go. You disgusting piece of... 1 week, find somewhere else to live. I walked downstairs. Blake was leaning against the kitchen counter, drinking my beer. He looked amused. Sounds like that went well, he said. Pack your things. See, here's the problem, Jason. He set down the beer bottle. Sarah doesn't want me to go. Lily doesn't want me to go, and frankly, I'm pretty comfortable here. It's not your house. Isn't it? I've been paying the electric bill for 6 months. Water bill, internet, groceries. Legally speaking, I might have more claim to this place than you do. He was wrong about the law, but his confidence was unsettling. You put bruises on my daughter. Your daughter needs discipline. Sarah's too soft. Kids need structure. She's 6 years old. Old enough to learn respect. He stepped closer. Look, I get it. You're upset, but you've been gone a long time and things change. Sarah's happy. Lily's learning to behave. Maybe you should think about what's best for everyone here. And what's best is you staying. What's best is you moving on. Sarah filed paperwork while you were deployed. Separation agreement. She's getting the house, custody of Lily, and a nice monthly support payment from your military pension. My heart dropped. She filed for separation? 6 weeks ago, didn't she mention it? She hadn't, which meant she'd been planning this for months. While I was working 16-hour days in the desert, sending money home, missing my daughter's life, my wife was building a new one without me. The papers should be served any day now, Blake continued. Sarah wanted to tell you in person, but, well, you can see how that's going. I looked at this man who'd stolen my family, my home, my life. He was bigger than me, younger, richer, everything I wasn't. But he'd made one mistake. He'd hurt my daughter. Okay, I said. Blake blinked. Okay? You're right. Things change. I'll find a hotel tonight. Give you both some space to figure this out. He looked surprised, suspicious. That's mature of you. I'm a mature guy. I grabbed my duffel bag. Take care of Lily. Always do. I kissed my daughter goodbye. She clung to me, begging me not to leave. I promised her I'd see her soon. It was the hardest thing I'd ever done. At the Motel 6 on Highway 32, I sat on the lumpy bed and opened my laptop. If Blake wanted to play games, I'd play. But he'd learned the difference between a financial consultant and a soldier. Soldiers don't just react, they plan. First, I called my lawyer, Tom Briggs. We'd served together in Iraq before he went to law school. Jason, Jesus, I thought you were overseas. Just got back. I need your help, Tom. My wife's been cheating. Filed for separation. And her boyfriend's been hurting Lily. Silence on the line. Then, how sure are you about the mistreatment? I saw the bruises. Lily told me he did it. Did you document it? Photos? Video? Not yet. Do it, tonight. Everything. Bruises, statements, anything physical. We're going to need evidence. What about the separation filing? I'll look into it. If she filed without serving you, there might be procedural issues. But Jason, if she's truly in danger, we need to move now. CPS, police, emergency custody order, the works. I don't want to traumatize Lily more than she already is. Brother, she's already traumatized. We're trying to save her. I hung up and stared at the ceiling. My daughter was sleeping in my house with a man who hurt her, and there was nothing I could do about it tonight. But tomorrow was different. Tomorrow, I started gathering evidence. I didn't sleep. At 0500, I was parked across the street from my house, watching. Blake's SUV was in the driveway. Black Escalade with custom rims. Probably cost more than I made in 6 months. At 0630, Sarah left for work. She drove past me without noticing. At 0800, Blake emerged, designer workout clothes, heading to whatever gym rich guys use to stay in shape. I waited 10 minutes, then used my key to get inside. Lily was still asleep. I kissed her forehead and took photos of her shoulders with my phone. The bruises were darker today, angrier. In the master bedroom, I found more evidence of Blake's presence. Prescription bottles with his name, bank statements from an account I'd never seen, and in Sarah's jewelry box, a velvet ring box. Inside was a diamond engagement ring, not the one I'd given her. This one was bigger, expensive. I photographed everything. In Blake's clothes, I found his wallet, driver's license from California, credit cards with different addresses, and a business card for something called Maddox Financial Solutions with a P.O. box in Nevada. I photographed that too. The kitchen drawer that used to hold our bills now contained Blake's paperwork, insurance documents, investment portfolios, and something that made my stomach drop. A life insurance policy on Sarah. $2 million. Blake was the beneficiary. My hands shook as I photographed it. The front door opened. I shoved everything back and moved to the kitchen, pretending to make coffee. Blake walked in, sweaty from his workout. He stopped when he saw me. Thought you were staying at a hotel. Came to make Lily breakfast. It's Saturday. She's still sleeping? I'll wait. We stared at each other. Blake moved to the refrigerator, pulled out a protein shake. His movements were casual, but I could see tension in his shoulders. Sarah mentioned you might want to see Lily on weekends, he said, until the custody hearing. There's no custody hearing yet. There will be. He chugged half the shake. Sarah's got a good lawyer. Military guy with deployment history doesn't look great in family court. Absent father, you know? I was working, supporting my family. Sure, but Lily doesn't understand that. All she knows is Daddy was gone and Uncle Blake was here. Uncle Blake, who grabs her hard enough to leave bruises. Blake set down the shake. You want to be careful about accusations like that? Or what? Or people might think you're the kind of guy who makes stuff up. Unstable, maybe dangerous. He smiled. PTSD's a real problem with you military types. I don't have PTSD. No? Your wife says you've been having nightmares, anger issues, drinking too much. She's worried about Lily's safety. I hadn't had nightmares since Iraq, hadn't touched alcohol in months. But Sarah could claim anything, and who would prove otherwise? You're good at this, I said. Good at what? Manipulation, gaslighting, making people doubt themselves. How many families have you destroyed? Blake laughed. Destroyed? I improved their lives. Sarah's happier than she's been in years. Lily's learning discipline and respect. You're the one who wants to tear it all down. Lily's footsteps echoed on the stairs. We both turned as she appeared in the kitchen doorway, rubbing her eyes. Daddy? She looked confused. Are you staying now? Just visiting, Princess. Uncle Blake and I were talking. She looked between us nervously. Are you fighting? No, sweetheart, Blake said smoothly. Daddy was just leaving. I was going to make pancakes, I said. Uncle Blake makes better pancakes, Lily said quietly. Then she looked at me with guilty eyes. Sorry, Daddy. My heart broke. My own daughter was afraid to hurt the feelings of the man who was hurting her. That's okay, baby. Maybe next time. I kissed her goodbye and left. In my rearview mirror, I watched Blake put his arm around Lily's shoulders, right where the bruises were. She winced but didn't pull away. At the library, I used their computers to research Blake Maddox. What I found made ice gripped my spine. 3 domestic violence complaints in California, all dropped when the women suddenly moved away or changed their stories. A civil complaint from a private school in Nevada. The details were sealed, but the case involved inappropriate conduct with a minor. And 5 marriages in the past 12 years, all to single mothers, all ending in divorce with Blake walking away with half their assets. My wife wasn't his girlfriend. She was his latest mark. And Lily wasn't just being threatened, she was being groomed. I printed everything and drove to Tom's office. This guy's a professional, Tom said, scanning the documents. Look at this pattern. He targets vulnerable women with kids and assets, moves in, isolates them from support systems, then gradually takes control. What about the life insurance policy? Tom's face went grim. That's the exit strategy. $2 million is enough to disappear forever. You think he'd actually... I think he's done this before. And I think some of his previous wives might not have just moved away. We stared at each other. We need to move fast, Tom said. File for emergency custody today, get a restraining order, and maybe we should call the FBI. FBI? Pattern of behavior across state lines, financial fraud, possible homicide. This is bigger than family court, Jason. I just want my daughter safe. Then we do this right. Legal, thorough, by the book. Because if we screw this up, Lily could disappear forever. That afternoon, I filed for emergency custody. The judge reviewed my evidence, photos of Lily's bruises, Blake's criminal history, the suspicious life insurance policy, and granted a temporary order. But when the sheriff went to serve the papers, the house was empty. Sarah's car was gone. Blake's Escalade was gone. And so was Lily. They'd run. I called Sarah's cell, straight to voicemail. I called Blake's number, the one from his business cards, disconnected. I called Sarah's mother in Texas. She hadn't heard from her in weeks. My daughter was gone, and I had no idea where. That night, I sat in my empty house, the house Blake had claimed was his, and planned my next move. The FBI had opened a case, but they worked slowly, methodically. I couldn't wait for the system. Lily needed her father now. I opened my laptop and started making calls. Military contacts, intelligence guys who owed me favors, private investigators who worked off the books. If Blake thought he could disappear with my daughter, he was about to learn something about military logistics. We don't leave anyone behind. My phone rang at 0347. Unknown number. Jason Murray? The voice was electronically distorted. Yeah. Your wife and daughter are in Denver, Hotel Monaco downtown, room 1247. You didn't hear this from me. The line went dead. I was on the road in 20 minutes. Denver was 8 hours away. I made it in 6, stopping only for gas and coffee. By afternoon, I was parked outside the Hotel Monaco, watching the entrance. At 1600, Sarah emerged alone. She looked tired, stressed. She walked to a nearby Starbucks and ordered something complicated. I followed her inside. Hello, Sarah. She spun around, nearly dropping her drink. Jason, how did you... Where's Lily? You can't be here. Blake said if you found us. Blake said what? She looked around nervously. We need to talk, but not here. We sat in my truck. Sarah wouldn't look at me. He's not who you think he is, I said. I know exactly who he is. Do you? Do you know about his previous wives? The life insurance policy? The criminal charges? Her face went pale. You're lying. I showed her the printouts, the police reports, the marriage certificates. She read in silence, her hands shaking. This can't be right, she whispered. He's a predator, Sarah. And you led him right to our daughter. Tears started falling. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know. Where is she? At the hotel, with Blake. He said we needed to leave because you were dangerous, that you'd hurt us if you found us. I would never hurt Lily. I know that now, but Jason, I'm scared. When I tried to call the police yesterday, Blake took my phone. He said if I contacted anyone, he'd disappear with Lily and I'd never see her again. We're going to get her back. How? He's stronger than you, smarter, and he has videos. What videos? Of me. Compromising videos. He said if I ever tried to leave, he'd send them to my boss, my parents, everyone. Blackmail. I've been such an idiot. We'll deal with it later. Right now, I need to know everything about the hotel room. Lay out exits when Blake comes and goes. You can't just burst in there. He might hurt Lily. I'm not going to burst in anywhere. I'm going to be smart about this. But even as I said it, I was thinking about the Beretta M9 in my truck's lockbox, about the things I'd learned in Iraq, about what I'd do to any man who threatened my daughter. Sarah told me Blake left every evening at 1900 to work out at a nearby gym. He'd be gone for 2 hours minimum. Lily would be alone in the room, watching TV. He locks the door from the outside, Sarah said. Tells the front desk we're worried about Lily sleepwalking. Security cameras in the hallway? I think so. Fire stairs? East and west ends of the building. I had until 1900 to plan, 3 hours. At 1845, I was on the 12th floor, dressed in hotel maintenance coveralls I'd bought at a uniform shop. I had a toolbox, a clipboard, and a master key card I'd acquired from a very helpful front desk clerk who thought I was there to fix the air conditioning. Money talked louder than hotel policy. At 1900, I watched Blake leave through the lobby. Big guy, confident stride, designer gym bag over his shoulder. At 1905, I knocked on room 1247. Mommy? Lily's voice was small, scared. It's Daddy, Princess. Silence, then the sound of running footsteps. Daddy? Really? Really? Can you unlock the door? I can't. Uncle Blake locked it special. He said, bad men might try to take me. I'm going to get you out of there, baby. Stand back from the door. The master key worked. The door opened, and Lily flew into my arms. Daddy! I knew you'd find me. She was thinner than before, pale, but her eyes lit up when she saw me. We have to go, Princess, right now. What about Mommy? Mommy's coming with us. I carried her to the fire stairs. Sarah was waiting on the 10th floor landing, tears streaming down her face. Oh, baby, she whispered, taking Lily from me. I'm so sorry. Mommy, why are you crying? Happy tears, sweetheart. Daddy found us. We made it to the parking garage without incident. I strapped Lily into the back seat of my truck while Sarah got in the passenger side. Drive, she said. He'll be back soon. Where to? Anywhere but here. I started the engine. In the rearview mirror, I could see Lily's face. She looked happy for the first time since I'd been home. But as we pulled out of the garage, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. I know what car you're driving. I know which direction you went. Bring them back or I'll make you all disappear. Blake? Sarah asked, seeing my face. He found us. That's impossible. We just left. He put a tracker on your car. Probably your phone too. I pulled into an alley and killed the engine. Get out, both of you. Leave everything. Phones, purses, everything. But now, Sarah. We transferred to a rental car I'd arranged as backup. Cash only. No credit cards. No trail. But as we drove through downtown Denver, I noticed the same black Escalade in my rearview mirror. Blake had found us. He's following us, I told Sarah. She turned around and went pale. How? Doesn't matter. Hold on! I gunned the engine and took a hard right onto 17th Street. The Escalade followed. I took another right, then a left, weaving through traffic. Blake stayed with us. Daddy, what's happening? Lily asked. Just playing a game, Princess. Like race cars. But this wasn't a game. Blake was gaining on us, and I was running out of room to maneuver. At the next light, he pulled up beside us. I could see his face through the passenger window. Calm, confident. He rolled down his window and gestured for me to do the same. Against my better judgment, I did. Nice try, Jason, he called over the traffic noise. But this ends now. Pull over. Go to heck. You have 5 seconds to stop this car before I call the police and report a kidnapping. Your choice. You don't have Lily legally. I have Sarah's statement that you're armed and dangerous. A veteran with PTSD who threatened to take her daughter away from her. How do you think that plays out? The light turned green. Cars behind us started honking. 4 seconds, Blake said. I looked at Sarah. She was crying. I looked at Lily in the rearview mirror. She was scared. 3 seconds. I could ram his car. I was in a rental. He'd be hurt, maybe unconscious. We could escape while he was down. 2 seconds. But Lily would see it, would be traumatized, would learn that Daddy solved problems with violence. 1. I pulled over. Blake parked behind us and got out. He walked to my driver's side window with his phone in his hand. Smart choice. Now we're going back to the hotel, and we're going to pretend this never happened. The custody order won't be worth the paper it's printed on once I show the police the videos Sarah made. What videos? I asked. Sarah was sobbing now. I'm sorry, Jason. He made me do it. Blake smiled. Sarah's quite the actress when properly motivated. Tell him about the video you made last week. I can't, she whispered. Tell him, or I'll show it to Lily. Sarah looked at me with broken eyes. I recorded myself saying you were dangerous, that you scared us, that you threatened Lily and me if we didn't come back, that you had something in the house, and you weren't the same after deployment. Why? He said if I didn't, he'd hurt Lily worse. He showed me pictures of what he did to other kids who didn't obey. My vision went red. You piece of... Careful, Blake said. Lily's watching. I looked in the rearview mirror. My daughter was staring at us with wide, frightened eyes. What do you want? I asked. Simple. You drive back to Ohio. You file papers withdrawing your custody petition. You tell the FBI there was a misunderstanding. And you disappear from our lives forever. And if I don't? Sarah's video goes to the police, along with some physical evidence I've planted in your hotel room. Pills, tools, things that'll put you away for a very long time. He had thought of everything, covered every angle. How do I know you won't hurt them after I leave? You don't. But if you stay, I guarantee they'll both disappear, and you'll spend the rest of your life in prison, wondering what happened to them. I stared at this man who held my family hostage. He was smart, ruthless, patient, but he'd made one mistake. He thought I was the kind of father who would abandon his daughter to save himself. Okay, I said. You win. Blake looked surprised. Just like that? Just like that. You're right. I can't fight the system and you at the same time. I'll go back to Ohio, file the papers, call off the FBI. Good. Sarah, get Lily. You're riding with me. Wait, I said. Let me say goodbye. Blake hesitated, then nodded. Make it quick. I got out and opened Lily's door. She threw her arms around my neck. Don't leave me again, Daddy. I have to, Princess. For a little while. I don't want to go with Uncle Blake. I know, baby, but you have to be brave for Daddy. Can you do that? She nodded, tears streaming down her face. Remember what I taught you about the special whistle? When Lily was 4, I taught her an emergency whistle pattern. 3 short, 3 long, 3 short, SOS in Morse code. I'd told her if she was ever in real danger to whistle that pattern as loud as she could. I remember. Good girl. I kissed her forehead. I love you more than all the stars in the sky. I love you too, Daddy. Blake took her hand. Come on, Princess. Time to go. As they walked to his car, I caught Sarah's arm. I'm going to save her, I whispered. How? Trust me. Jason, he's too powerful, too connected. He has videos, evidence, money. He has everything except the one thing that matters. What's that? He's not her father. Blake drove away with my wife and daughter. I stood in the alley until his taillights disappeared. Then I opened my truck's lockbox and took out my phone. The secure one, military issue. I made 3 calls. First, to Tom Briggs. The package is mobile. Target acquired. Proceed with phase 2. Second, to my old unit commander. Colonel, it's Murray. I need a favor. The kind that doesn't appear in any reports. Third, to my contact at the FBI. Agent Martinez, that case we discussed. I have new intelligence. High priority. Blake thought he was playing chess with an amateur. He was about to learn the difference between a consultant and a soldier. The next morning, I was back in Ohio. But I wasn't alone. Tom had called in the federal marshals. Agent Martinez had expedited the FBI investigation. And my old unit commander had made some phone calls to people who made Blake's connections look like mall security guards. At 0800, federal agents raided Blake's registered business addresses in 3 states. What they found confirmed our worst fears. Blake Maddox was wanted in connection with 5 missing persons cases, all single mothers, all with life insurance policies listing Blake as beneficiary. The business cards, the financial consulting, the fancy cars, all funded by previous victims. And according to financial records seized in the raid, he was planning to disappear again soon. This time to Costa Rica, with Sarah and Lily. At 1200, I got the call. We found them, Agent Martinez said. Blake checked into an airport hotel under an alias. Flight to San Jose leaves at 1800. We're moving now. I want to be there. Not happening. This is a federal operation. That's my daughter. Which is why you're staying away. Blake's already painted you as unstable. If something goes wrong and you're there, it validates his story. I drove to the airport anyway, parked in the long-term lot and watched through binoculars as federal agents surrounded the hotel. At 14:30, Blake emerged in handcuffs. Even from a distance, I could see the rage on his face when he realized he'd been outmaneuvered. At 14:35, Sarah walked out carrying Lily. My daughter was safe. The trial took 6 months. Blake's lawyer tried every trick in the book, claiming Sarah was complicit, that I'd manufactured evidence, that federal agents had exceeded their authority. None of it worked. The jury heard testimony from Blake's previous victims, women who'd survived, children who'd been hurt, financial records that showed a decade of systematic fraud and manipulation. Most damning was Blake's own computer, recovered from his hotel room, videos of him threatening Lily, photos of her bruises, records of his plans to stage Sarah's accidental death once they reached Costa Rica. The prosecution painted a picture of a predator who used charm and manipulation to destroy families, who preyed on vulnerable women and hurt innocent children. When Blake was sentenced to life without parole, I was in the gallery with Lily on my lap. She whispered, "Is the bad man going away forever, Daddy?" "Forever, Princess." She smiled and hugged me tight. Sarah and I didn't get back together. Too much damage had been done, too many lies and betrayals. But we learned to co-parent effectively. She got therapy, learned to recognize the signs of manipulation and control, worked to rebuild her relationship with Lily. I got full custody during the week, with Sarah having supervised visitation on weekends. It wasn't perfect, but it was safe. And safety was all that mattered. 6 months after the trial, Lily and I moved to a new house across town. Fresh start, new memories. The first night in our new home, I tucked her into bed and read her favorite story. When I kissed her goodnight, she looked up at me with those big brown eyes. "Daddy." "Yeah, Princess? Are you staying now?" I thought about Blake, locked away forever. About Sarah, learning to be a mother again. About the system that had almost failed us, but ultimately worked when good people refused to give up. "I'm staying," I told my daughter. "No one's taking me away again." She smiled and closed her eyes. Outside, it started to rain. But inside our new home, everything was warm and safe and right. I sat in the chair beside Lily's bed, watching her sleep, and made a promise to myself and to her. I would never let anyone hurt her again, ever.